Has it ever happened to you that at first you don't like a game, but by the time you finish it, it ends up being so much to your liking that when you play it again, you discover a taste you didn't find at first? At the beginning, you find it dull and heavy, but as you play it, you understand the mechanics more and more, comprehending much better the reasons behind many things, and it ends up pleasing you. This is somewhat similar to the concept of not judging a book by its cover. In my case, this happened recently with the game Dishonored. This game was developed by Arkane Studios and distributed by Bethesda Softworks. It was released in 2012 for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. Sometime later, with the transition to the next generation, this same game was re-released for the following consoles of both companies. During development, the team thought about how to implement different routes to accommodate the player's style, since this game is a mix between a first-person shooter with stealth mechanics. However, this is more of a choice. You can play however you want. If you want to explore, you can do so. If you want to be stealthy, or if you prefer, you can go all out and create a massacre. But it's at this point that one element stands out, since your choices have repercussions on the ending and even on other events during the game. The game begins with Corvo's arrival at the kingdom to meet the Empress in Dunwall Tower. Her kingdom is being ravaged by a plague transmitted by rats, causing very significant havoc. Meanwhile, our relationship with said character focuses on the fact that we were her bodyguard. Upon arriving, he meets Emily, the regent's daughter, with whom we have a very similar relationship to that of father and daughter. After having an interaction that serves as a tutorial, we carry an important message, and along the way, we encounter different personalities in the political sphere. We reach the Empress, and upon delivering the message, we are attacked by a paramilitary group whose objective is to kill the sovereign. We defend her, but find out that these assassins have powers, defeating us and achieving their goal, while also kidnapping Emily and leaving us at the scene, so that later the guard arrives and concludes that we are the ones responsible for the regicide, and we are imprisoned. 6 months later, we find ourselves in prison being tortured, and they prepare our execution. At that moment, we realize that the whole situation was planned by a secretary who was working for the Empress, and with that, he carried out a coup d'etat and placed himself as the new regent. To tie up his last loose end, he must finish off Corvo. However, we are helped by a group to escape, and in the end, we manage to free ourselves from confinement, arriving at a coast with different buildings that serve as a base for the revolutionary group to make their plans. We are the key piece to recover Emily, overthrow the dictator, and restore order, making the first thing we have to obtain information to succeed. In the game, we take control of Corvo, who has a standard set of abilities such as running, crouching, jumping, shooting, moving, swimming, diving, and looking through the main character's first-person view, in order to advance, explore, and carry out missions, giving you the freedom to advance through 2 different moral paths. Passively, that is, avoiding at all costs being discovered, sedating enemies with sleep darts, hiding corpses or unconscious bodies, preventing direct conflicts, making no noise to go unnoticed, throwing bottles to distract enemies and get them out of our way, and disabling traps as well as alarm systems, or actively not caring if you are seen and dispensing justice with your weapons, whether your sword or your firearms. But depending on your choices, chaos will be created, which is reflected in different conditions that cause greater difficulty. For example, if you kill people, this will lead to more rat swarms. These will attack you and can be deadly if they jump on you. So, if one takes the easy path, that is, killing everything that moves, it will cause us to encounter these groups of rodents much more frequently. But to cope with the conditions of the scenario, Corvo is granted a series of supernatural powers. These are given by the outsider, a being that serves as a deity who feels intrigued by you and the decisions you make, a kind of god indifferent to evil and benevolence. The set of skills we are given is aimed at different conditions. For example, we can see the position of enemies and, above all, look in which direction they are looking. This allows us to detect a possible threat and the moment when we can pass without being detected. We can teleport, summon a rat swarm, use some animal by transferring our consciousness into them to move without being detected, among others. With that set of powers, the game evolves and allows us to adapt to the situation, whether to continue in our stealth mode or flee from some conflict that might overwhelm us. In addition, there will be different passive abilities that can range from disintegrating the corpses we cause when eliminated while not being detected, to a greater mana bar, detecting secrets, and various others. These powers allow us to make healthy progress, since they allow us to vary a lot how we play it, together with the fact that the scenarios present different routes to reach your objective, respecting the different mechanics. We will have different main missions, but as we advance to complete them, different conditions will be presented that allow us to finish them in different ways. For example, we will have to eliminate a character, but in the course of events, some events will cause another character to finish them off without the need for us to get our hands dirty, or they will be made to disappear. Following the logic of choice and its repercussions, this is achieved by completing a side mission, either assigned during the course of the mission or by some character in the central base. In our base, we will have a vendor at our disposal that allows us to buy ammunition or different gadgets that allow us to have a greater amount of bullets, as well as upgrade for our weapons. These are sold by Piero, an inventor whose creations include the emblematic mask that Corvo wears to go incognito. But to be able to purchase the different gadgets and elements we require, we need to find money. This is scattered everywhere. While we will also get greater earnings by taking pieces of art and valuable objects, requiring us to explore every corner to resupply ourselves, especially with healing items, since these are very expensive and difficult to find in the levels, making a special emphasis on the fact that it's better to go unnoticed. Our health is represented by a bar that recovers up to a certain point, but sometimes it is not enough since the damage they deal to us tends to be very high. Meanwhile, the supernatural powers will have their own bar that will be consumed as we use them, but it will also recharge up to a certain point, limiting the use of more powerful powers. We will find potions that will restore these meters. Additionally, food can recover a certain amount of health. We can steal different items from enemies, either by pickpocketing them while they are conscious, which happens when you reach them from behind as long as they don't detect you, or we can obtain them when they are unconscious or dead. These range from keys that serve to unlock doors, opening new paths, or rooms that could make our life easier, whether by having a better route or finding valuable objects, to money and ammunition. We will have different special objects that serve to unlock powers. These are special runes, which are acquired by gathering a certain amount that allows us to buy whichever we want, and we can also upgrade them the same way. Meanwhile, passive abilities are obtained by finding carved bones, which already come with their own ability. These can be equipped up to a certain number, and we can buy different gadgets that allow us to have more. The enemies are not very varied. There are soldiers who can fight with their swords or shoot at us. Others who can also use powers very similar to ours. Some masked ones who use a music box that has the power to block your powers. Guard dogs, which look more like lizards with long legs, and a type of enemy on stilts that launch missiles. There will also be some hostile fauna. The main ones are the rats that carry the plague, which are dangerous in packs, and are capable of eating corpses, leaving only the remains. They can even eat the unconscious ones. There will be fish, some alien artichokes, and hordes of people who are infected by the plague, behaving like zombies, attacking without regard for their own integrity, and they're very dangerous because they attack in groups. But we can deal with them using the same principles as with the soldiers, where we can deduce that facing very large groups are the most dangerous scenarios we can encounter. Added to this, there will be some towers that launch missiles, and we can hack them to eliminate enemies in our place. The bosses are main characters who are not very different from other soldiers, so they are very mediocre and only stand out because of the story and context. The setting is heavily inspired by London, especially in the 17th century, but at the same time, it has been developed with very important technology, a mix between the future and at the same time a scenario very similar to what Europe suffered at the time it was being ravaged by the plague. The music is very limited and only makes an appearance at very specific moments. I think this is to create even more the feeling of stealth, but at first, this silence with only ambient effects can feel heavy in the game. One of its problems, or something that could benefit from it, is that a map is necessary, Perhaps not that detailed, but something that allows you to know the routes and thereby take the best one. At the same time, this might take away the feeling they want to convey, which is to look for the best option by improvising in the moment. What makes it shine is that your actions are very well exemplified in your surroundings, to the point that your performance alters the conclusions, leaning strongly towards obtaining a good result from stealth and being a pacifist. I feel it does this very well because it gives you two options. You could be a killing machine, or you can use these powers to advance without anyone losing their life, creating a moral scenario that only the player can decide. I would recommend it for how complex it can be, together with the different moral options it gives you, being able to take the path you prefer to adapt to the circumstances, important factors that they manage to clearly stamp on the game, adding an interesting story that can pull out some surprises. It's a great title for people who like to think about each action before making a decision. I wouldn't recommend it to people who see it as an action and shooting game. Although it has those events, you might have a very bad time since this game invites you, taking this as an obligation because everything gets much more complicated to be very stealthy. It doesn't have a multiplayer system, which nowadays might subtract some importance, but in my opinion, it's better to have that than to shoehorn a system that repeats the same tired modes. A game that may seem like something it's not, a moral path where power and force are not always the best solution for a fitting conclusion. That is Dishonored. I hope you liked the video. If so, give it a like. If you know someone who might enjoy it, share it on your social media, and don't forget to subscribe if you like the channel. If you have any questions, have any suggestions, or simply want to comment something, don't hesitate to do so in the comment box below. Also, if you're a big fan of this channel, hit the notification bell to be among the first to see the videos. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you next time. Goodbye.